Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing 125 valid palindrome. That's 125 valid palindrome on LeetCode. It's also part of the blind 75. Today's going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing in the past. It's not just an array and a hash. It's going to actually be a two-pointer method. All right, so buckle up and let's get started. First off, I just want to let you know we are going to be using a couple of different methods here. We're going to be using the toLowercase method, and we will be using the .match method. I'll go ahead and leave a description. I'll go ahead and leave the link in the description below, so that way you can find these methods and you can learn them as well. It's very important as a software engineer, of course, to be able to read documentation, to understand what's really going on, and to apply them to, algorithms and different problems that you come across. So this will be an exercise of that. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started with reading the prompt. All right. A phrase is a palindrome if, after converting all uppercase letters into lowercase letters and removing all non-alphanumeric characters, it reads the same forward and backward. Alphanumeric characters include letters and numbers. Given a string S, return true if it is a palindrome or false otherwise. Okay, there's a couple of edge cases that we need to look out for here. We need to make sure that everything is lowercase. We need to remove all non-alphanumeric characters. And alphanumeric characters can include letters and numbers. This is really important. What they're trying to get at here for you specifically as the engineer here is, hey, we have a bunch of these edge cases. Can you read the details between the lines? Like, can you read between the lines? Can you give us what we're asking for here? So this is an example sentence and string. You see here it has a man, and then it also has a comma, and then it also has a space, and it has a colon. But what we're returning here is actually not any of that stuff. They're all lowercase letters, and it is a palindrome at the end of the day, right? When you remove all of the non-alphanumeric characters, this is a palindrome. All right, next up is this one is not a palindrome. Let's go ahead and walk through this specific case. All right, we got an R on this side, an R on this side. Okay, great. A. We got a C and a C. Oh, snap. We have an E and an A. All right, this is not a palindrome, right? Because if it was, this would be A and this would be A, or this would be E and this would be E, and the string would be a palindrome. Yeah, you can see right here, this is not a palindrome. We're gonna go ahead and return true for any empty string. So if S is an empty string, after removing non-alphanumeric characters, an empty string reads the same forward and backward. It is a palindrome. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start looking at our example cases here. I have some notes. So we need to consider numbers, spaces, different cased letters, and weird characters. We know it's a palindrome if a string has the same letters all the way down to the middle, from the start and the end all the way down in the middle. We need to consider a pointer system, right? Because we want to keep track of every letter, the first, then the last, then the first, then the last. So we're going to go ahead and create a pointer system that keeps track of the start of the string and a pointer that keeps track of the end of the string. And the way we're going to do this is using a while loop. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get started using the methods that I have up there. So we're going to create a new string, new s equal to s.toLowercase. And what this is doing here is it's just lowercasing all of the letters for us. And then we want to go ahead and match. So a match is going to be our regex, and this is going to help us get to what we want. So you can see here that this regex here is A through Z capital letters, and it's finding all of the capital letters in the sentence. Well, we don't really want that. What we do want is we want all lowercase. So we're going to use all lowercase letters. Another edge case is that we have numbers in here. So we want to make sure that we get rid of that, or we're going to consider those, but we want to make sure that those will not be an issue for us. So just be aware that we're going to add numbers into this as well. And then if it's an empty string, what's going to end up happening is it'll return null for an empty string. It's going to return null for an empty string, and we want to make sure that we're careful with that. So if it's null and it's an empty string, we want to return true. Let me see if I can find a example of that really quick. And it doesn't look like they have a null value. Okay, well, right here it has a null value. So if it's null or if it doesn't exist, we're going to go ahead and return true because we're looking for those empty spaces. So if new s does not exist or is a null value, we're going to return true. Okay, great. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and set up our pointer system. So we're going to set up pointer 1 to be 0. Then we're going to set up pointer 2 to equal new s dot length minus 1 because we want to start at the end of the string, right? Let's go ahead and take a look really quick at new s. I'm going to go ahead and console log out new s. I'm going to console log out new s of pointer 1. And I'm going to console log out pointer 2 as well. All right, let's go ahead and run this. And great, you can see that it comes out as an array, so we can grab the length from the array. And you can see here that this does match already. So we have an A and an A, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. We want the last character in the array, and then we want the first character in the array. Now let's go ahead and set up our while loop. So I'm going to get rid of this console log. And then while pointer 1 is less than pointer 2, we're going to do some work in the while loop, right? So when do we want to return false? Well, we want to return false when the letters don't match up. So if I keep going down, let's say race a car, well, at some point I need to return false because this is not a palindrome, right? So if E and A are different, then we're going to return false. So in that case, if new s of pointer 1 does not equal pointer 2, we want to return false. Otherwise, we want to keep looping through the string, right? Or the array that we've made in new s. So we're going to say else, and we're going to say pointer 1, and we're going to do shorthand, add 1, pointer 2, minus minus. And at some point, if it never hits that false, well, then we have a palindrome. And if we have a palindrome, then we want to return true. All right, let's go ahead and run this. Okay, perfect. So all of our edge cases pass, our test cases pass, and let's go ahead and submit this. Alrighty guys, that's it. So our runtime was 52 milliseconds and it took up 46.9 megabytes. Alrighty folks, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your week.